The Art of Financial War. Sun Tzu's Wealth Strategies for Anyone Starting from Zero. Introduction. You're already at war and you're losing. Jennifer sits at her kitchen table at 11 p.m., surrounded by bills she can't pay. She works 2 jobs, retail manager during the day, bartender 3 nights a week, 80 hours a week, every week for the past 3 years. She's exhausted, broke, and watching people half as hard-working build wealth that seems impossible for her to reach. Cross town, Michael just closed a deal that will net him $40,000. He worked maybe 20 hours this week. He's not smarter than Jennifer. He's not more talented. He doesn't work harder. He barely works at all by her standards. The difference isn't effort, it's strategy. Jennifer is a soldier, fighting frantically on a battlefield she doesn't understand. Michael is a general, positioning himself strategically, while others exhaust themselves in pointless battles. Here's what nobody tells you. Your finances are a war zone whether you acknowledge it or not. Your bills are enemies. Your debt is an invading force. Your lack of skills is a strategic weakness. Your time waste is territory you're surrendering daily. And you're losing because you're using brute force against an enemy that only responds to strategy. 2,500 years ago, a Chinese military strategist named Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War, a book about winning battles through superior positioning, intelligence gathering, and strategic thinking rather than superior force. He conquered nations with inferior resources by outthinking his enemies, not outfighting them. His principles built empires. They can build your wealth too. Because here's the truth that changes everything. Wealth isn't about having more money to start with. It's about thinking strategically about the money you have. Rich people aren't rich because they have advantages you don't. Most of them started exactly where you are. They're rich because they think like generals while you're thinking like a desperate soldier. Soldiers follow orders, generals give them. Soldiers react to circumstances. Generals create circumstances. Soldiers hope someone will save them. Generals save themselves through superior strategy. Soldiers work harder when things go wrong. Generals work smarter before things go wrong. Which one are you? If you're working 80 hours a week and still broke, you're a soldier. If you're waiting for a raise, a promotion, a lottery win, or some external force to change your life, you're a soldier. If you're hoping things will get better without a strategic plan to make them better, you're a soldier. And soldiers lose wars because they're fighting battles chosen by someone else, on terrain that favors the enemy, with tactics that guarantee exhaustion. This book is about becoming a general in your own financial war. Sun Tzu said, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." In financial terms, this means winning through positioning, not through grinding, through intelligence, not through effort, through strategy, not through hope. You're going to learn how to apply ancient battlefield tactics to modern money problems, how to choose which financial battles are worth fighting, and which ones drain your resources. How to position yourself where opportunities flow naturally instead of chasing them desperately. How to gather intelligence that gives you unfair advantages in negotiations. How to build leverage through people and systems instead of just trading time for money. These aren't theories. These are proven strategic principles that have built fortunes for ordinary people who learn to think strategically instead of working frantically. The warehouse worker who became an operations consultant making 6 figures. The teacher who built a tutoring empire while keeping her day job. The immigrant who turned language skills into a translation business. The retail worker who learned one valuable skill and tripled her income. They're not special. They're strategic, and you can be too. But first, you need to understand something fundamental. The game you're playing is rigged against soldiers and designed for generals. The person working the hardest rarely wins. The person thinking the most strategically almost always does. You've been taught that success comes from hard work. That's a lie told to soldiers to keep them fighting battles that benefit generals. Hard work is necessary, but it's not sufficient. Strategic work is what builds wealth. You've been taught to follow the path laid out for you. Go to school, get a job, work hard. Wait for promotions. Save what you can. Hope for the best. That's a soldier's path. It leads to 40 years of struggle and a retirement that might not exist. Generals design their own paths. They create opportunities instead of waiting for them. They position themselves strategically instead of hoping strategy will find them. This book will show you how you'll learn to know your battlefield, conducting an honest financial assessment without delusion or excuses. To choose your battles, focusing your limited resources on one breakthrough instead of scattered effort. To position strategically, making opportunities come to you instead of chasing them. To gather intelligence, using information as an unfair advantage. To find indirect approaches, discovering side doors to wealth that avoid frontal assaults. You will master timing and speed, knowing when to move fast and when to wait patiently, how to use your employer's resources to build your own empire, when to retreat from losing battles to preserve resources for winning ones, how to build your army through leverage and delegation, how to win negotiations without fighting, and most importantly, how to play the long campaign while everyone else quits early. These principles have been tested in actual warfare for 25 centuries. They work in financial warfare too. But they require you to make a choice right now. Will you remain a soldier, or will you become a general? Soldiers keep doing what they've always done and wonder why nothing changes. Generals study strategy, design campaigns, and execute with discipline. Soldiers blame their circumstances. Generals change their circumstances through superior positioning. Soldiers hope for better luck. Generals create their own luck through better strategy. Which one will you be? This isn't a motivational book. This isn't about positive thinking or vision boards or believing in yourself. This is about warfare, the financial kind. It's about strategy, tactics, intelligence gathering, resource management, and long-term campaign planning. It's about winning. And you can win, not because you're special, but because you're willing to learn strategy while everyone else is still fighting frantically. Sun Tzu said, "Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win." Translation: plan your victory before you fight. Design your strategy before you engage. Know you'll win before the battle starts. That's what this book teaches you to do. By the end, you won't be hoping for financial success. You'll be executing a strategic plan that makes success inevitable. You won't be reacting to circumstances. You'll be creating circumstances that favor you. You won't be a soldier anymore. You'll be a general. The war is already happening. Your bills don't care if you have a strategy or not. Your debt doesn't pause while you figure things out. Your financial enemies are already winning. The only question is, are you going to keep fighting like a soldier and losing? Or are you going to start thinking like a general and winning? Welcome to Financial Warfare. Time to learn strategy. Chapter 1. Know your battlefield, financial self-assessment. Marcus thought he knew his finances. He made $38,000 a year working at a warehouse. His rent was $900. His car payment was $250. Insurance, phone, utilities. He could list them all. He thought he had it mapped out. Then he actually tracked every single dollar for 30 days. Every coffee, every convenience store stop, every app subscription, every ATM withdrawal that disappeared into miscellaneous. $637. That's how much was bleeding out every month in expenses he didn't even remember making. Streaming services he forgot he had. Subscription boxes that auto-renewed. Convenience store trips that added up. Fast food because he was too tired to cook. $637 a month. $7,644 a year. On a $38,000 income, he was hemorrhaging 20% of his gross pay to things he couldn't even name without looking at his bank statement. The moment he saw that number, everything changed. He knew his battlefield now, and knowing it meant he could actually fight on it. This is where every financial war begins, with brutal, honest assessment of your actual position. Not the story you tell yourself, not the version that makes you feel better. The real numbers. Sun Tzu said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Your enemies in financial warfare are clear: debt that compounds against you, lifestyle inflation that grows faster than your income, lack of valuable skills that keeps you stuck, time waste that bleeds opportunity, and habits that sabotage your progress. Your allies are equally clear. Your current income, hidden skills you haven't monetized, time you can redeploy, relationships you can activate, and opportunities you haven't noticed yet. But most people don't actually know either. They know the general idea of their finances. They know approximately what they make and roughly what they spend. They think they know where their money goes. Thinking you know and actually knowing are separated by a 30-day tracking exercise that most people will never do, because seeing the real numbers is uncomfortable. Generals aren't comfortable, they're informed. Here's your first tactical assignment. Map the terrain completely. Pull out a spreadsheet or a notebook. For the next 30 days, you're going to document every single dollar that comes in and every single dollar that goes out. Not approximately, exactly. Your income is probably the easy part. You know what you make. Salary, hourly wages, side gig income, whatever comes in regularly. Write it down. Monthly after-tax income is your starting resource level. Now the painful part, track every expense, and I mean every single one. That $3 coffee, the $8 lunch, the subscription that auto-renews for $12 a month that you haven't used in 6 months, the ATM withdrawal, the Amazon purchase you don't remember making. All of it. Use an app if it's easier. Mint, YNAB, Every Dollar, or just a simple spreadsheet. Doesn't matter what tool you use. What matters is capturing real data. At the end of 30 days, categorize everything. Fixed expenses that don't change, rent, car payment, insurance, variable expenses that fluctuate, groceries, gas, entertainment, discretionary expenses that you could cut, subscriptions, eating out, impulse purchases. This is your battlefield map. Now look at it honestly. Where are you bleeding money unconsciously? Where are small expenses adding up to major losses? Where are you spending money that doesn't align with what you say you value? Sarah, a high school math teacher making $52,000 a year, did this exercise and discovered she was spending $400 a month eating out. Not because she loved restaurants, because she was too exhausted after teaching all day to cook. $4,800 a year on convenience food. She didn't need a budget lecture. She needed to see the real number. Once she saw it, she made a different choice. Meal prepped on Sundays, cut eating out to once a week, saved $3,000 that first year. Miguel, an immigrant from Guatemala working construction, tracked his money and realized his bilingual skills were valuable. He was helping co-workers translate documents for free. Started charging $25 per document for legal translation. Made $2,500 that year from a skill he didn't even think was monetizable. Jake, a recent college grad, found $3,000 a year in subscriptions he'd forgotten about. Streaming services from college he never canceled. Apps with free trials that converted to paid. Gym membership he used twice. All auto-renewing, all invisible until he actually looked. The battlefield assessment isn't about shame. It's about intelligence gathering. You can't fight an enemy you haven't identified. You can't defend territory you don't know you're losing. But knowing the battlefield is only half the equation. You also need to know yourself. What skills do you actually have that someone would pay for? Not what your degree says. Not what your job title is. What can you actually do that solves problems for other people? Make a list. Be honest. Can you write clearly, design things, code, teach, organize, manage projects, speak another language, fix things, create content? Every skill is a potential weapon in financial warfare, but only if you know you have it. Most people underestimate themselves catastrophically. They think everyone can do that when actually most people can't. The thing that's easy for you is hard for someone else, and they'll pay you to do it. Now assess your time. Track it the same way you tracked money. For 1 week, document where every hour goes. Sleep, work, commute, meals, TV, social media, everything. You'll probably find 10 to 15 hours a week that's currently going to activities that neither make you money nor make you happy. That's not judgment. It's reconnaissance. Those hours are territory you can reclaim and redeploy toward wealth building. Finally, map your relationships. Who do you know who's doing something you want to do? Who's in industries you're interested in? Who has skills you need to learn? Who could introduce you to opportunities? You're not going to ask them for anything yet. You're just mapping the terrain. Generals know what resources they can potentially access before they need to access them. Marcus, the warehouse worker who found $600 a month bleeding out, made changes immediately. Canceled subscriptions, saved $140 monthly. Started meal prepping, saved another $200. Cut down convenience store stops, saved 80 more. Stopped using ATMs that charged fees, saved 40. $460 a month recovered, $5,500 a year. Then he looked at his skills. He knew warehouse systems, inventory management, forklift operation, logistics coordination. Started studying supply chain management online using free YouTube content. 6 months later, got forklift certification that cost $300, but qualified him for jobs paying $48,000 instead of $38,000. Applied the money he'd saved to get the certification that increased his earning power by $10,000 a year. That's battlefield intelligence put into action. But most people won't do this. They'll keep operating on approximate knowledge and wondering why their financial situation never improves. They'll blame external forces, the economy, their boss, their circumstances. Generals don't blame the terrain. They map it accurately and use it strategically. Your battlefield assessment should answer these questions with brutal honesty. How much money actually comes in each month after taxes? How much actually goes out? Where is it going? What's the gap between income and expenses? Is it positive or negative? If negative, where can you cut? If positive, what are you doing with the surplus? What debts do you have? List them all. Credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loans, everything. What are the interest rates? What are the minimum payments? What's the total amount owed? This is enemy territory you need to reclaim. What skills do you have right now that someone might pay for? What skills could you develop in 6 to 12 months that would increase your income? What do you do easily that others find difficult? Where does your time actually go? How many hours a week are you trading directly for money? How many hours could be redeployed toward building skills or income? Where are you wasting time on activities that neither make money nor create joy? Who do you know who could help you level up? Not people you'll ask for money, people who have information, connections, or skills you need access to. Your network is terrain you haven't fully explored yet. The answers to these questions are your battlefield map. Without it, you're fighting blind. With it, you can actually design a strategy that works. Sun Tzu said, "Know the enemy, know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles without disaster." Your enemies are now identified. Bleeding expenses, lack of monetizable skills, wasted time, unexplored relationships, and debt that's stealing your future income. You know yourself now too. Your actual financial position, your hidden skills, your available time, your network resources. This is the foundation everything else builds on. Most people skip this step. They want the strategy without the intelligence gathering. They want to win without knowing the battlefield. Generals know that battles are won in reconnaissance before they're won in combat. You've just done your reconnaissance. Now you know where you're actually fighting. You know what you're fighting against. You know what weapons you have available. The war isn't won yet, but you're finally in position to start winning it. Track your money for 30 days. List your skills honestly. Map your time for 1 week. Identify your network resources. Know your battlefield. That's where victory starts. Chapter 2. Choose your battles, the power of strategic focus. Marcus had a plan. Actually, he had 6 plans. He was going to day trade stocks using a strategy he learned from YouTube, and invest in cryptocurrency because everyone said it was the future, and start a dropshipping business because the profit margins looked good, and learn affiliate marketing because passive income sounded perfect, and flip items on eBay because he'd seen people making money, and start freelance graphic design because he'd always been creative. 6 different wealth-building strategies. 6 different battlefronts. All happening simultaneously while working full-time at a warehouse. 1 year later, his results. $0 profit from day trading after fees and losses. Negative $800 in crypto after buying high and selling in a panic. $300 revenue from dropshipping but $400 spent on ads. Net loss $100. Affiliate marketing made him $12 total. eBay flipping broke even. Graphic design earned nothing because he never got past watching tutorials. Total result after 12 months of frantic activity. Net loss of almost $900, zero traction anywhere, complete exhaustion, and the strong suspicion that making money was impossible for people like him. Meanwhile, his friend Devin had a different approach. Devin picked one thing: freelance writing, that's it. No stocks, no crypto, no dropshipping, no affiliate marketing, just writing content for businesses. He spent the same year Marcus spent scattered across 6 battlefronts, completely focused on one: getting better at writing and finding clients who'd pay for it. Year 1 results for Devin: $60,000 revenue from freelance writing. Not profit yet, he had expenses and taxes, but $60,000 in revenue doing one thing while Marcus made negative $900 doing 6 things. Same amount of time available. Same starting resources, opposite results. The difference wasn't talent, it was focus. Sun Tzu said, "He who defends everything defends nothing." In financial warfare, this translates directly. If you fight on 6 fronts simultaneously with limited resources, you lose on all 6. If you concentrate all your force on one front, you can actually break through. This is the strategic principle most people violate constantly. They see every opportunity as something they should chase. Stocks are going up, better get in. Crypto is hot, can't miss out. Real estate is appreciating, need to buy something. Side hustles are everywhere, better try them all. The result is scattered effort that produces scattered results, which usually means no meaningful results anywhere. Generals understand that force concentration is everything. You don't spread your army across the entire battlefield hoping to somehow win everywhere. You identify the single breakthrough point, mass all your forces there, and punch through. Then you exploit that breakthrough to win the whole war. In financial terms, this means choosing the one wealth-building path you're going to focus on for the next 12 months, minimum, and saying no to everything else, no matter how attractive it looks. This is psychologically harder than it sounds because every opportunity you say no to feels like a loss. What if that was the one that would have worked? What if you're missing out on the next big thing? But here's the truth. The person who tries one thing and gets good at it beats the person who tries 10 things and stays mediocre at all of them. Every single time. Jennifer, a single mom working retail, made this exact choice. She looked at her options. She could try to build an Etsy shop selling crafts, or drive for Uber on weekends, or join a multi-level marketing company like her sister kept suggesting, or become a virtual assistant. She picked virtual assistant work and killed everything else. Why? Because it had the lowest barrier to entry. Used skills she already had from retail management, organization, customer service, scheduling, and had clear demand from small business owners who needed help. Year 1. Made $18,000 as a part-time VA working 10 hours a week while keeping her retail job. Not life-changing yet, but actual traction. Year 2. Increased rates, added clients, dropped to part-time retail. Made $42,000 from VA work. Year 3. Quit retail entirely. Hired her first subcontractor VA. Built a small VA agency. Made $75,000. Focus compounded. Scattered effort never does. The framework for choosing which battle to fight is simple, but requires honest self-assessment. First question: does it build on skills you already have? If yes, you have a natural advantage. You're not starting from zero. If no, you're fighting uphill from the beginning. Second question: can you dominate it with focused effort? Not can you try it and see. Can you actually imagine becoming really good at this if you focused on it exclusively for a year? If no, wrong battle. Third question: does it compound over time? Meaning, does getting better at it today make you more valuable tomorrow? Does early work create leverage for future work? The answer is no. If you're trading hours for dollars with no accumulated advantage, it's not strategic. Fourth question: will it open bigger opportunities? Does this battle, if won, position you for even bigger wins? Or is it a dead end that caps your potential? If it caps you, reconsider. If you can't answer yes to at least 3 of these 4 questions, you're choosing the wrong battle. David, a computer science student, looked at his options. He could try to learn web development, mobile app development, data science, cybersecurity, game development, and cloud architecture all at once because they were all hot tech skills. Or he could pick one and go deep. He chose React development, JavaScript library for building user interfaces. One technology, completely focused. Everyone told him he was limiting himself. What if React becomes obsolete? What if employers want something else? Shouldn't he diversify his skills? He ignored them. Spent 18 months building React projects, contributing to open-source React libraries, writing articles about React, building a portfolio of React applications. Got hired straight out of college at $85,000 as a React developer. His classmates who tried to learn everything got entry-level jobs at $55,000 doing general web development. His focus created expertise. Their diversification created mediocrity. Now here's the hard part. Once you choose your battle, you have to say no to every other opportunity that comes along. Aggressively. Your friend tells you about a great cryptocurrency opportunity. You say no. You're focused on your one path. Someone pitches you on a network marketing business. You say no. You're focused on your one path. A new app promises passive income. You say no. You're focused on your one path. This is discipline most people don't have. They say yes to everything because they're terrified of missing out. But saying yes to everything means you're saying no to the one thing that could actually work if you gave it your full focus. Andre, a warehouse worker, had to make this exact choice. He could try to do forklift certification, learn basic coding, start a pressure washing side business, and invest in dividend stocks all at once. Or he could pick one. He chose forklift certification because it directly increased his earning power in his current industry. Took only 3 months to complete, cost $300, and opened warehouse supervisor roles paying $15,000 more per year. Everything else got delayed. Not canceled, delayed. First win this battle, then choose the next one. He got certified, got promoted to warehouse operations specialist at $48,000 instead of $38,000, then spent a year mastering that role. Then, and only then, did he add the next focus. Learning warehouse management system software to position himself for operations manager roles. One battle at a time. One sequentially, not fought simultaneously. 3 years later. Operations manager making $68,000. If he'd scattered his effort across all 4 ideas, he'd probably still be making $38,000 and wondering why nothing worked. The comparison is stark. Person A tries 10 different wealth-building strategies over 5 years. Never gets good at any of them. Makes a few hundred here, loses a few hundred there, ends 5 years later with maybe $3,000 saved and 0 traction anywhere. Feels like making money is impossible. Person B picks one strategy, focuses exclusively for 5 years, gets really good at it, builds reputation, skills, network, and income in that one area. Ends 5 years later with transformed income and clear path to even more growth. Knows exactly how wealth gets built. Same time invested, opposite results. The person who tries everything loses to the person who masters one thing. Always. Your immediate tactical assignment. Choose your one battle for the next 12 months. Look at your options. Which one checks the most boxes, uses existing skills, can be dominated with focus, compounds over time, opens bigger opportunities? Pick that one. Write it down. Make it your sole focus for 12 months minimum. Everything else goes on the later list, not never, later, after you win this battle. Then commit with the kind of focus that makes people think you're crazy. While everyone else is dabbling in 6 different things, you're going to go so deep on one thing that you become undeniably good at it. That's how you break through. Sun Tzu said, "The general who wins makes many calculations in his temple before the battle is fought. The general who loses makes but few calculations beforehand." Your calculation is simple. Which single battle, if won, changes everything? Choose that battle. Refuse every other one. Fight with concentrated force. Win. Chapter 3. Strategic Positioning. Make opportunities come to you. Carlos cleaned toilets at a tech startup. That's what his job title reduced to when you got past the fancy facilities associate language. He mopped floors, emptied trash, and made sure the office was presentable when everyone arrived in the morning. $32,000 a year in San Francisco. Barely enough to share a cramped apartment with 3 roommates. But Carlos wasn't thinking like a janitor. He was thinking like a general. While he cleaned, he paid attention. He learned the building's HVAC system because it kept breaking, and he was tired of waiting for contractors. He memorized the security protocols because he had to lock up at night. He figured out the vendor management system because he ordered cleaning supplies. He became the person who knew everything about how that building functioned. 6 months in, the HVAC died on a Friday night before a huge client event Monday morning. The facilities manager panicked. Contractors couldn't come until Tuesday. Carlos said he knew the system, could probably fix it. He did. Event happened. Company didn't lose the client. A year in, they promoted him to facilities coordinator. $48,000. He didn't apply for the promotion. He didn't ask for it. He positioned himself as the obvious choice by being the person who already knew what a facilities coordinator needed to know. 2 years in, the facilities manager left. Carlos got promoted again. Facilities manager at $65,000. Still didn't apply. They came to him because he was the obvious choice. 3 years after starting as a janitor, he left to become a facilities consultant for 3 different startups. Contract basis, setting up their facilities operations. Made $120,000 that year. He didn't get lucky. He positioned himself strategically from day one, even when he was cleaning toilets. Sun Tzu said, "The clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him." Translation: You control the battlefield through positioning. You don't react to where the enemy puts you. You choose where you fight. In financial warfare, this means positioning yourself where money naturally flows, instead of chasing it frantically. Most people approach wealth building like they're hunting. They chase every opportunity. They apply to hundreds of jobs hoping someone picks them. They cold pitch clients hoping someone says yes. They're running after money with the desperation of someone who needs it immediately. Strategic positioning is the opposite. It's farming, not hunting. You plant yourself where opportunities grow naturally, then you harvest when they're ripe. Amanda was an administrative assistant making $42,000. She was good at her job but capped. Admin roles in her company didn't pay more than $50,000 max. She could have applied for jobs at other companies hoping for more money. That's the hunting approach. Instead, she noticed something. Her company had terrible data systems. Sales reports were a mess. The leadership team spent hours in meetings trying to make sense of scattered information. Amanda took a free SQL course on Khan Academy, learned data visualization with free tools, started creating simple dashboards in Google Sheets that automated reports people were building manually. She didn't ask permission. She just started doing it when she had downtime. Then she'd email the reports to managers who needed them. Thought you might find this useful. 6 months later, managers were requesting reports from her. She became the data person, even though that wasn't her job title. When the company decided to hire a data analyst, they came to Amanda first, offered her the role at $70,000, $30,000 raise, because she'd already positioned herself as the obvious choice. She didn't chase that opportunity. She created conditions where the opportunity came to her. This is strategic positioning. Identifying where value flows, placing yourself at the intersection, and becoming the obvious solution before people realize they need one. The framework is straightforward. Step 1. Identify where money flows in your industry or company. What problems get paid to solve? What pain points keep decision makers up at night? What skills are valuable but scarce? Step 2. Position yourself at the intersection of problem and solution. Learn the skills that solve the expensive problems. Become the person who can fix what's broken. Step 3. Build visible proof before you need it. Don't wait until there's a job posting. Demonstrate capability before anyone asks you to. Step 4. Stay visible to decision makers. Make sure the people who hire and promote know what you can do. Not through bragging, through solving problems they care about. James drove for Uber in San Francisco. Made about $40,000 a year after expenses, working 50-plus hours a week. He noticed most of his rides were professionals going to or from the financial district. venture capitalists, startup founders, tech executives. Instead of just driving, he positioned himself strategically. He picked up rides in the financial district during business hours when these people were commuting. He kept his car immaculate. He had interesting conversations without being pushy. He became known to regular riders as the knowledgeable Uber driver who understood tech. Not by accident, he studied tech news, learned startup terminology, asked good questions. One of his regular passengers was a VC firm partner. After 6 months of professional rides and interesting conversations, she asked if he'd ever considered working in venture capital. Turns out they needed an operations coordinator, someone organized, personable, and familiar with the startup ecosystem. James got hired at $72,000 salary plus benefits. He didn't apply on LinkedIn. He positioned himself where opportunity flowed, in the cars of people who had opportunities to give, and made himself memorable for the right reasons. That's strategic positioning. Lisa was a freelance copywriter hustling on Upwork, bidding on jobs for $20 per article, competing against writers in countries with lower cost of living. She was hunting, chasing every job posting, competing on price, working constantly for terrible rates. Then she repositioned strategically. She stopped bidding on jobs entirely. Instead, she built a portfolio specifically targeting SaaS companies, software-as-a-service businesses that needed technical but readable content. She wrote sample articles about SaaS topics, customer onboarding, retention strategies, product-market fit, posted them on Medium and LinkedIn, didn't sell anything, just demonstrated expertise publicly. She connected with SaaS marketing managers on LinkedIn, not to pitch, just to be visible in their network. Within 3 months, inbound requests started coming. SaaS companies that found her content and wanted to hire her. No bidding, no competing on price. They came to her offering rates of $150 to $300 per article. Same writer, different positioning. 10 times the rates because she positioned herself where high-value opportunities flowed naturally instead of fighting for scraps in a crowded marketplace. The positioning framework requires answering 4 questions. Where does money flow in my industry or market? Follow the money. What gets paid well? What problems do people spend serious money to solve? That's where you want to position yourself. What skills or knowledge do I have, or can I develop quickly, that solve expensive problems? You don't need to be the world's best. You need to be good enough to solve problems that people pay money to fix. How can I demonstrate this capability before anyone asks me to? Portfolio projects, public content, solving problems people didn't even ask you to solve yet, proof before opportunity knocks. Who are the decision makers who need to know I exist? Not everyone. Just the specific people who hire for roles you want or buy services you offer. Position yourself in their line of sight. The tactical implementation. This week, identify 3 expensive problems in your industry or workplace. What keeps breaking? What costs time or money? What do people complain about? This month, pick one problem and learn how to solve it. Free courses, YouTube, library books, whatever it takes. Don't wait for permission or formal training. Next 3 months, start solving that problem whenever you encounter it. Build proof that you can do it. Make it visible to people who care about that problem being solved. Results. Opportunities start coming to you instead of you chasing them. You're positioned as the solution before the problem is formally acknowledged. Sun Tzu said, "Water shapes its course according to the ground. The skilled warrior shapes his victory according to the enemy." Translation. Don't fight the terrain, use it. Position yourself where the natural flow works in your favor. Money flows to people who solve expensive problems. Position yourself as the person who solves those problems. Don't wait for someone to hire you to do it. Demonstrate you can do it before they realize they need it. Opportunities will flow to you. That's strategic positioning. Stop chasing, start positioning. Let opportunity come to you. Chapter 4. Information Warfare. Knowledge as Competitive Advantage. Priya walked into the salary negotiation, knowing more than her boss expected. She'd spent 3 hours researching. Her company had just raised a $12 million Series B, public information from TechCrunch. Comparable marketing coordinator salaries on Glassdoor and Levels. FYI ranged from 68 to 92,000. Her manager's quarterly priorities, mentioned in the all-hands meeting, centered on customer acquisition. The department budget refresh happened in Q1. She was negotiating in December, perfect timing. She was currently making 62,000. She was going to ask for 78,000. Her manager opened with, "We'd like to offer you 68,000 for the promotion." Priya didn't flinch. "I appreciate that. I've researched market rates for this role with my experience level in our city. The range is 75 to 92,000. Given that I'll be responsible for the paid acquisition strategy you mentioned as a Q1 priority, and my track record of reducing our CAC by 34% this year, I believe 78,000 aligns with both market rates and the value I'll provide. Does that work within the approved range?" She got 75,000, 13,000 more than the opening offer, because she had information her manager assumed she didn't have. Sun Tzu said, "Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles without disaster." In financial warfare, information is the ultimate weapon. The person who knows more wins. Not the person who's smarter, not the person who's more experienced, the person who has information the other person doesn't. Most people negotiate blind. They don't research salary ranges. They don't understand the other party's constraints. They don't know what problems need solving. They walk into every financial interaction hoping for fairness instead of armed with intelligence. Generals gather intelligence before engaging. They know the enemy's position, resources, weaknesses, and priorities before the first shot is fired. Here's how you actually do this. Before any salary negotiation, spend 3 hours minimum on research. Glassdoor, Levels.fyi, pay scale, industry reports. Find the actual range for your role, experience level, and location. Know what you're worth in the market before you walk into that room. Research the company's financial position. Are they profitable? Did they just raise funding? Are they cutting costs? Public companies have financial filings. Private companies have news coverage. LinkedIn shows if they're hiring or laying off. This tells you how much leverage you have. Understand the decision-maker's priorities. What keeps your boss up at night? What metrics is she measured on? What problems is she desperate to solve? Position yourself as the solution to her specific pain points, not just someone asking for more money. Tom, a software developer, researched his company's competitors before asking for a raise. Found out developers with his skill set were making 35,000 more at competing firms. Used Blind to verify the numbers. Discovered his company was struggling to hire senior developers. Walked into the negotiation with data. I've been approached by recruiters from 3 companies offering 115 to 130,000 for senior roles. I'd prefer to stay here, but I need the compensation to reflect market rates. Given the difficulty hiring senior developers right now, I'm hoping we can find a number that works. Got promoted to senior developer at 120,000, 30,000 raise. Information was leverage. Rachel, a freelance designer, studied her client's industry before pitching a rate increase. E-commerce brands in their space were spending 5,000 to 10,000 monthly on design because high-quality product pages directly impacted conversion rates. Instead of saying, "I'm raising my rates," she said, "I've been analyzing the ROI on the design work we've done together. The product page redesigns I created have generated an estimated 280,000 in additional revenue based on your conversion data. To maintain this level of strategic input and prioritize your projects as you scale, I'm adjusting my rate structure to 125 per hour starting March 1st. Given the value this represents, does this work with your Q1 budget?" Client kept her. Positioned the rate increase as protecting value, not just asking for more money. The information gathering framework. First, what do they want? What are their goals, fears, constraints, and priorities? What problem are they trying to solve? Second, what's the market rate? What do comparable roles, services, or products actually cost? Don't guess, research. Third, what's their financial position? Can they afford what you're asking? Are they desperate or comfortable growing or cutting? Fourth, what's my leverage? What do I bring that's hard to replace? What alternatives do I have if this doesn't work out? Kevin, interviewing at a startup, researched obsessively, studied their product, identified 3 major UX problems, analyzed their competitors, understood their funding stage and burn rate. In the interview, he referenced specific features that needed improvement and explained exactly how he'd fix them. The interviewer said, "You know more about our product than some of our team members." Offered him $95,000 on the spot. Information demonstrated value before he was even hired. The questions that extract information without seeming invasive. What does success look like in this role for you? Reveals their real priorities. What's the biggest challenge the team is facing right now? Shows you what problems need solving. How do you see this role evolving over the next year? Tells you growth potential and their long-term thinking. What would make someone wildly successful in this position? Gives you the criteria they're actually measuring against. Every answer is intelligence you can use to position yourself better. But information warfare isn't just about gathering. It's about controlling what you reveal. When someone asks your salary expectations, don't name a number first. Ask, "I'd love to hear what range you have budgeted for this role." Make them show their cards before you show yours. When someone asks what you're currently making, you can deflect. "I'm focusing on finding the right role where I can add significant value. What's the range for this position?" Don't anchor yourself to your current underpaid salary. When negotiating, give ranges, not single numbers. "I'm targeting $75,000 to $85,000 based on market research," sounds more flexible than "I want $80,000. Information asymmetry wins negotiations. The person with more information about the other party's position, constraints, and priorities can position their ask strategically. The person operating on assumptions and hope gets whatever they're offered. Sun Tzu said, "All warfare is based on deception. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away." Translation: control what information you share and when. Extract maximum intelligence while revealing minimum. Start treating every financial interaction as an intelligence operation. Research before negotiating. Ask questions before answering them. Understand their position before revealing yours. Information is leverage. Gather it aggressively, control it strategically. That's how you win. Chapter 5. The Indirect Approach, Side Doors to Wealth. Emily taught 5th grade for $52,000 a year. She wanted more income, but the direct approach was blocked. Union scale capped raises at $2,000 annually. Asking for more wasn't an option. So she didn't ask, she went around. She started tutoring students online for $40 an hour. 2 students weekly became 5 students. 5 became 12. She was making $1,600 a month on 10 hours of weekend work. Then she noticed parents asking for the same reading comprehension materials repeatedly. She packaged her curriculum into downloadable PDF workbooks and sold them on Teachers Pay Teachers for $12 each. First month, 3 sales, $36 felt pointless. 6 months later, selling 200 units monthly, $2,400. Passive income while she taught. Then other tutors started buying her materials to use with their students. She created a licensing option. $50 monthly for tutors to use her curriculum with unlimited students. 12 tutors signed up. $600 a month from something she built once. Total side income 2 years in. $43,000 annually. Combined with teaching, $95,000 total. The side door became bigger than the front door. Sun Tzu said, "All warfare is based on deception. Attack where they are unprepared, appear where you are not expected." In financial warfare, the indirect approach means finding paths to wealth that don't require asking permission, fighting competition head-on, or following the obvious route everyone else is taking. The frontal assault, asking your employer for a 50% raise, usually fails. The indirect approach, building income streams they don't control, almost always works if you're strategic about it. Robert was a pediatric nurse making $68,000. He couldn't make significantly more as a nurse without going into management, which he didn't want. Direct approach blocked, so he went indirect. He noticed parents constantly asking him questions about child nutrition and sleep issues. He started a weekend health coaching practice specifically for parents struggling with those 2 issues. Charged $150 per session. Did 4 sessions monthly while working full-time, $7,200 annually from something that used his expertise but wasn't nursing. Then he created a group coaching program, 8 parents, 6 weeks, $497 each. Ran it quarterly, $15,000 yearly. Then he pre-recorded the group program and sold it as a self-paced course for $197. Sold 40 in year 1, $7,800. 3 years later, quit nursing. Makes $150,000 annually from health coaching and courses. The indirect path became his main income. The framework for finding indirect approaches. What problem did you solve for yourself that others have? Personal solutions often become profitable services. If you figured out how to organize your chaotic schedule, other busy people need that. If you learn to meal prep efficiently, other time-crunched families will pay for your system. What skills do you use at work that people outside your company need? You're getting paid to develop valuable skills daily. Can you package that expertise for freelance clients, consulting, or teaching? What's the adjacent opportunity to your main work? Teachers can tutor. Nurses can coach. Developers can create courses. Designers can sell templates. The skill you use for your employer can often be monetized independently. What can you build once and sell repeatedly? Digital products, templates, courses, systems, anything with no marginal cost to replicate. You create it once, sell it forever. Alicia worked IT support making $58,000. She'd created Python scripts to automate her own repetitive tasks. Data entry, file organization, report generation. Other IT departments had the same problems. She started selling her automation scripts for $300 to $800 each, customized for specific use cases. Made $48,000 that first year selling automation to other IT teams while keeping her day job. The indirect approach turned her daily work into a product others would buy. Samantha organized her home using Marie Kondo's method. Got obsessed with optimization. Friends asked for help organizing their spaces. Started charging $80 an hour for professional organizing. Did 2 homes weekly, $6,000 annually as side income. Then she created before and after content on Instagram. Got noticed by busy professionals who wanted her services. Raised rates to $150 per hour. Then $200. Then started taking only full home projects at $3,000 each. 3 years later, professional organizing business making $80,000 yearly. Quit her retail management job. The indirect path replaced her main income. Derek learned woodworking as a hobby. Built furniture for his apartment. Posted pictures on Instagram. People asked if he sold pieces. Started making cutting boards and shelves for Etsy. First year, $12,000 revenue. Second year, $38,000. Third year, quit his $45,000 retail job, makes $78,000 selling handmade furniture full-time. Hobby became side hustle, became main income. Indirect approach worked because he never competed for raises at a job with limited upside. He created his own upside. The pattern is consistent. Direct approaches usually hit ceilings. Indirect approaches create new paths where no ceiling exists. Instead of asking your employer to pay you more, create value streams they don't control. Instead of competing in crowded job markets, create demand for what only you offer. Instead of trading hours for dollars at a capped rate, build systems that multiply your time. The tactical execution. This month, identify one problem you've solved that others have. One skill you use daily that has outside value. One thing you've created that could be packaged and sold. Next 3 months, test the market. Offer it to 5 people, see if anyone pays. If yes, refine and scale. If no, try a different angle or different problem. Year 1. Build the indirect income stream to $10,000 annually. Keep your day job. This isn't about quitting immediately. It's about creating options. Year 2. Scale to $25,000. Now you have meaningful secondary income that gives you leverage. Year 3. The indirect path might be bigger than the direct path. Now you have choices. Sun Tzu said, "The enemy expects you to attack from the front. Wealth comes from the side door nobody's guarding." Stop asking for permission to earn more. Stop waiting for your employer to value you. Stop accepting that your income is capped by your job title. Find the indirect approach. Build the side door. Create income streams outside the system that limits you. The side door often becomes the main entrance. That's the indirect approach. Chapter 6. Speed and timing. When to move fast, when to wait. Two people saw the same opportunity in early 2023. Christina noticed online courses about using AI tools for small businesses were starting to trend. She thought about creating one. Spent 6 months preparing, outlining content, building a bigger email list, making it perfect, waiting for the right time. By the time she launched in September, the market was saturated. Made $4,000 total from a course that would have made $40,000 if she'd launched fast. Brian saw the same trend in January. Launched an imperfect course in 2 weeks flat. Just 4 modules covering ChatGPT basics for solo entrepreneurs. Charged $197. Made $42,000 in the first 2 months from early adopters desperate to learn. Improved the course based on feedback. Added modules, raised the price. Now makes $200,000 yearly teaching AI tools to small businesses. Same opportunity. Speed was the difference. Sun Tzu said, "Rapidity is the essence of war. Take advantage of the enemy's unpreparedness. Travel by unexpected routes and strike him where he has taken no precautions." In financial warfare, timing separates winners from everyone else who almost did the thing that would have worked. Some opportunities require speed, some require patience. Knowing which is which determines whether you capture value or watch others capture it while you're still planning. The speed matrix is simple. Move fast when opportunities are closing, markets are opening, learning curves are short, competition is coming, or the cost of waiting exceeds the cost of imperfect action. Move slowly when decisions are irreversible, the price is inflated, you're reacting to FOMO, or waiting improves your position. Jasmine learned ChatGPT prompt engineering in January 2023, when most people didn't know what it was. Immediately started offering AI implementation consulting to small businesses at $300 per hour. Businesses were confused and desperate. She wasn't an expert. She was just 6 weeks ahead of them. Made $68,000 that year from a skill she'd learned faster than the market. By late 2023, hundreds of AI consultants appeared. The window closed. But Jasmine had already captured the early value by moving fast when others were still learning. Tyler bought Ethereum at $180 in March 2020, when COVID crashed markets and everyone was panicking. Sold at $3,200 in late 2021. Turned $8,000 into $140,000. Speed decision based on conviction. Markets were panicking, prices were irrational. Long-term thesis unchanged. Acted fast while others froze. Nicole was a graphic designer. March 2020, everyone went remote. Zoom backgrounds became essential overnight. She pivoted immediately, created custom Zoom backgrounds for businesses, sold packages for $200. Dominated that micro niche for 8 months before competition appeared. Made $67,000 from pure speed. By the time others entered, she'd already captured the early market and moved to the next opportunity. Speed wins when windows are opening. But patience wins different battles. Michael house hunted in Phoenix from 2021 to 2023. Everyone told him he was missing out. Prices were climbing, interest rates were low, he needed to buy now. He waited, watched prices peak in early 2022, watched the market soften, watched desperate sellers appear in late 2023, bought his house for $105,000 less than it would have cost in 2022. Patience saved more than a decade of salary increases would have generated. Linda sat on cash during the 2021 crypto and stock bubble. Every investment was going to the moon. She looked foolish holding cash while everyone else got rich on paper. 2022 crashed. She bought quality assets at 60% discounts. Her patience turned into positions she'll hold for decades, bought at prices the FOMO crowd will never see again. Chris got 4 job offers in 2022. All good, 75 to 85,000 range. He turned them all down. Friends thought he was crazy. Waited 8 months, got the offer he actually wanted. $165,000 at a company he'd been targeting. The patients paid a $40,000 premium over settling for good enough. The decision framework? Is this opportunity closing? If yes, move fast. If no, you can afford patience. Is this decision reversible? If yes, speed is low risk. If no, patience protects you from irreversible mistakes. Am I acting from FOMO or from conviction? FOMO demands speed. Conviction can wait for the right moment. Will waiting improve my position? If yes, patience is strategic. If no, speed captures value others will miss. Most people move too slow on opportunities and too fast on major decisions. They hesitate when they should act and rush when they should wait. The strategic operator does the opposite, acts decisively when opportunities appear, waits patiently when prices are inflated or decisions are irreversible. This week, identify one opportunity you're hesitating on that requires speed. What's the cost of waiting? If it's higher than the cost of imperfect action, move now. Also identify one decision you're rushing into. What would change if you waited 3 months? If you'd make a better decision with more time? Exercise patience. Sun Tzu said, "He who knows when he can fight and when he cannot will be victorious." Speed on opportunities, patience on major decisions. That's timing. Chapter 7. Use the enemy's resources. Learning while earning. Daniel worked corporate sales at Oracle. They paid him $78,000 plus commission, but they also paid for something more valuable, his education. Oracle sent him to enterprise sales training, $12,000 worth. Sent him to Salesforce conferences where he met VPs from 30 companies. Gave him access to CRM tools, sales intelligence platforms, and communication systems worth thousands annually. He absorbed everything. Learned consultative selling methodology, mastered enterprise deal structures, built relationships with decision-makers across industries. 3 years later, he left Oracle with those skills, that network, and that expertise. Started a sales consulting practice teaching other companies the enterprise sales methodology Oracle had paid to teach him. First-year consulting, $120,000 revenue. Oracle's $50,000 investment in his development became his 6-figure business. He used their resources to build his freedom. Sun Tzu said, "The clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him." Translation: use what they give you to build what you want. Your employer is investing in you right now. Training, tools, network access, skill development. Most people take the paycheck and ignore the strategic resources. Generals extract maximum value from every resource available. Michelle worked enterprise sales at IBM. IBM paid $15,000 for her to learn strategic account management methodology. She became excellent at consultative B2B sales. Now she coaches salespeople at $10,000 per client, has 15 clients annually, makes $150,000 teaching the methodology IBM paid to teach her. Used their investment to build her own asset. Aaron was a full-stack developer at Shopify. Shopify needed him to master React and AWS, paid for courses, gave him time to learn, provided projects to build expertise. He became exceptional at React and AWS, skills Shopify needed. Then he freelanced those exact skills nights and weekends for $150 per hour. Makes $48,000 yearly on side from skills his employer paid him to develop. Day job, $75,000. Side income, $48,000. Total, $123,000. Because he monetized the skills they paid him to build. Veronica was a project manager at a construction firm. They sent her to PMP certification training, $3,500. Gave her experience managing million-dollar projects. Taught her agile methodology and stakeholder management. She took all of it and created a project management template business. Sells PM templates, frameworks, and courses to other project managers. Makes $8,000 monthly from intellectual property built using skills and systems. Her employer paid her to learn. The framework for extracting maximum value. Say yes to every training opportunity. Corporate training costs thousands. Take every course, certification, and conference they offer. You're building portable skills on their dime. Master the tools they pay for. CRM systems, design software, data platforms, whatever tools your company provides access to. Become excellent with them. Those skills transfer to freelance work, consulting, or your next role. Build relationships at company events, conferences, client meetings, industry gatherings. Your employer sends you to these for company purposes. You're there for network building. The relationships you create belong to you, not them. Document what you learn. The systems, processes, and methodologies you develop at work can become intellectual property. Templates, frameworks, approaches. These can be packaged and sold as long as you're not stealing proprietary information. Justin was a marketing manager. His company paid for SEMrush, HubSpot, Google Analytics, Ahrefs, 5,000 plus in tools annually. He mastered all of them on company time. Runs a marketing agency now using those exact tools. Charges $18,000 per client for strategy and execution. Makes $180,000 yearly applying skills and tools his employer paid for him to learn. The ethical boundaries. You can use skills you developed, general knowledge, publicly available information, relationships built through legitimate networking, methodologies you learned. You cannot use client lists, proprietary data, trade secrets, confidential information, company intellectual property, anything that violates non-compete or confidentiality agreements. The line is clear. General skills and knowledge belong to you. Specific company information belongs to them. Rachel worked at a marketing agency. Learned Facebook advertising, Google Ads management, conversion optimization. Built those skills managing client campaigns on the agency's dime. Left and started freelancing the exact same services. Makes $6,000 monthly doing the same work she did at the agency, but keeping the profit instead of getting a $52,000 salary. Skills learned at work, monetized independently, perfectly legal and ethical. The 3-phase strategy. Phase 1, first 18 months. Learn aggressively. Take every training, master every tool, build every skill they'll pay for. You're being paid to get educated. Maximize it. Phase 2, 18 to 36 months. Validate externally. Start small side projects using those skills. Test whether the market values what you've learned. Freelance, consult, create products. Prove demand exists. Phase 3, 36 months plus. Scale or transition. If your side income approaches your salary, you have options. Stay and negotiate better terms, or leave and build full-time. The key is Phase 1, extracting maximum value from your employer's investment in your development. Most people show up, do their job, collect a paycheck, and leave all the strategic resources on the table. You're going to be different. You're going to use their training budget to build your expertise, their tools to develop your skills, their network events to create your relationships, their projects to prove your capabilities, all while being an excellent employee who delivers value. This isn't exploitation. This is strategic resource extraction that benefits both parties. They get a high-performing employee. You get skills, tools, network, and experience that become your portable assets. Sun Tzu said, "The skillful warrior puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible, and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy." Your employer is giving you resources right now. Training, tools, network access, skill development, project experience. Use them strategically. Build your expertise on their investment. When you're ready to move, you'll own the skills that make you valuable anywhere. That's using the enemy's resources. Chapter 8. Strategic Retreat, Knowing When to Quit. Rebecca stayed at Goldman Sachs for 7 years because quitting felt like failure. The brand name was prestigious. People were impressed when she said where she worked. Her parents bragged about her to their friends. But she was miserable, underpaid for New York City at $85,000, working 70-hour weeks in a toxic culture with zero growth path. She stayed anyway because leaving seemed like giving up. Finally, in 2022, she quit for a lower-paying startup CMO role at $78,000 with equity. Everyone thought she was crazy, taking a pay cut to leave Goldman for an unknown company. 3 years later, the startup got acquired. Her equity became worth $400,000. She got promoted to VP of Growth at the acquiring company. Her network in the startup ecosystem has opened doors Goldman never would have. She's happy. The retreat from Goldman was the winning move. Staying would have been the actual failure. Sun Tzu said, "He who knows when he can fight and when he cannot will be victorious." In financial warfare, Strategic retreat isn't failure. It's resource preservation. Staying in losing battles destroys your future. Retreating from unwinnable positions preserves your assets for battles you can win. Most people stay in dead-end jobs, failing businesses, and unprofitable investments far too long because retreat feels like defeat. Meanwhile, they're bleeding time, energy, and opportunity that could be deployed toward actually winning. The signs it's time to retreat. From jobs: no growth in 2+ years, toxic culture draining your energy. Industry or company dying, skills becoming obsolete, pay far below market. You're learning nothing valuable. From investments: the reason you bought no longer exists. Better opportunities exist elsewhere. You're losing sleep over it. You're throwing good money after bad. From businesses: 18 months of effort with zero traction. Market doesn't want what you're selling. You hate the work. The path to profitability disappeared. From relationships: they constantly borrow money you need back. They sabotage your financial goals. The cost of maintaining the relationship exceeds the value. Mark left journalism in 2008 when the industry was collapsing. Everyone said he was abandoning his career at the worst possible time. He went to a coding boot camp, learned web development, got hired at $72,000, now makes $125,000 as a senior developer. The retreat from dying journalism saved him. Staying would have meant 10 more years of declining pay and shrinking opportunities. Shannon quit teaching after 10 years. $58,000 salary, burned out. No path to significantly more money without going into administration, which she didn't want. Started private tutoring business. Makes $95,000 working 25 hours per week. Controls her schedule. Loves the work. Retreating from teaching wasn't failure. It was recognizing a ceiling she couldn't break through from inside the system. Gary was a VP at IBM for 22 years. Left at 45 to start IT consulting for mid-size companies. Everyone thought he was destroying his career trajectory. Makes $140,000 working 20 hours weekly. Owns his time. Has freedom his VP track never would have given him. The retreat was the smartest move of his career. The strategic retreat framework. Is this situation improving or declining? Be honest. Not could it improve if everything changed. Is it actually improving? If declining, retreat is strategic. Am I learning and growing or stagnating? If you're not building valuable skills, you're wasting time. Wasted time is lost opportunity. What am I not doing because I'm stuck here? What opportunities are you missing? What businesses could you build? What skills could you develop? Opportunity cost is real cost. Will this look like a good decision in 5 years? Future you doesn't care about sunk costs. Future you only cares whether you made the right strategic call. If 3+ answers point to leave, it's time to retreat strategically. The sunk cost trap kills more wealth than any other psychological bias. I've already invested 5 years here. Is irrelevant. Those 5 years are gone. The only question is, what do you do with the next 5? Patricia sold her Detroit rental property at a $15,000 loss in 2014. Bought it for $80,000, sold for $65,000. Everyone said she was realizing an unnecessary loss. She took the proceeds and bought Bitcoin at $400, sold at $12,000 in 2017. Turned her loss into a $200,000 gain. The strategic retreat from real estate that wasn't working became a massive win when redeployed correctly. Frank exited his struggling restaurant in 2019. Lost $60,000 over 2 years. Felt like complete failure. Took a corporate food service job to recover. Used the corporate job to learn systems, supply chain, and operations at scale. Launched a meal prep business in 2021 using what he'd learned. Makes $220,000 yearly revenue now. The retreat from the failing restaurant preserved his resources and taught him skills that made the next venture successful. Diana quit her Etsy jewelry business after 18 months. Made $200 total revenue. Friends said she gave up too soon. The 15 hours weekly she'd been spending on jewelry went to freelance writing instead. Makes $6,000 monthly now. Retreating from what wasn't working freed resources for what did. How to retreat strategically. Plan the exit. Don't rage quit. Prepare your next move before leaving. Line up the new job, test the business idea, save the runway. Strategic retreat is deliberate, not emotional. Build the bridge. Transition smoothly. Leave professionally. Maintain relationships. You never know when paths will cross again. Extract maximum learning. What did this teach you? What mistakes won't you repeat? What skills did you gain? Strategic losses are expensive education. Get the full value. Move decisively. Once you've decided to retreat, execute. Don't linger in limbo. Make the clean break and redeploy your resources immediately. The truth about strategic retreat? It feels like failure in the moment and looks like genius 3 years later. Every successful person has battles they retreated from. Jobs they quit, businesses they closed, investments they exited at a loss, relationships they ended. They're successful because they retreated from losing battles early enough to preserve resources for winning battles. You can be loyal to a losing position, or you can be strategic. You can't be both. Sun Tzu said, "The general who knows when to fight and when not to fight will be victorious." Some battles aren't worth fighting. Some positions aren't worth defending. Some investments aren't worth saving. Retreat strategically. Preserve your assets. Redeploy to winning ground. That's how you actually win. Chapter 9. Building your army, leverage and delegation. Nathan made $60,000 a year as a freelance web developer, working 60 hours weekly. Every hour he wasn't coding, he was doing admin work, emails, scheduling, invoicing, client communication. He was maxed out. Couldn't take more clients. Couldn't raise rates because he was already exhausted. His income was capped by his available hours. Then he hired his first virtual assistant from the Philippines for $8 per hour. 20 hours weekly. Cost, $640 monthly. The VA handled email management, scheduling, invoice tracking, and basic client communication. Freed 15 hours weekly for Nathan. He used those 15 hours to land bigger clients paying $10,000 per project instead of $3,000. Income jumped to $90,000 that year. Hired a second VA for quality assurance testing and minor code fixes. Another 10 hours weekly freed. Income hit $150,000 while he worked 35 hours. 2 VAs cost $3,200 monthly. Generated $90,000 in additional annual revenue. His army multiplied his force without multiplying his hours. Sun Tzu said, "The general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple before the battle is fought." In financial warfare, you can't scale yourself. Time is capped at 24 hours daily. The only way to break through income ceilings is leverage, building an army of people, systems, and technology that multiply your force. Most people trade time for money their entire lives. Rich people build armies that multiply time. The leverage hierarchy. Level 1, just you. Income capped at your hours times your rate. This is where most people stay forever. Level 2, you plus technology. Automation, software, systems that work while you sleep. First step toward leverage. Level 3, you plus people. VAs, contractors, employees. Human leverage multiplies your capacity. Level 4, you plus systems. Business runs without you, true leverage achieved. Level 5, multiple systems. Portfolio of leveraged assets. Wealth compounds automatically. Maria, a Spanish teacher, automated lesson planning with Canva templates and Notion databases. Saved 10 hours weekly. Used freed time to tutor SAT prep for $50 hourly. $2,000 monthly additional income from time technology gave back. Scott, a freelance writer, used Grammarly for editing. Jasper AI for first drafts. Calendly for scheduling. Dubsado for client management. Tools cost $150 monthly, saved 8 hours weekly. Used freed time for strategy consulting at higher rates. Emma, an Etsy shop owner, automated email sequences with Klaviyo. Order fulfillment with Printful. Customer service with templated responses. Saved 12 hours weekly. Launched second product line. Revenue doubled. That's technology leverage. Low cost, high return. Jordan, a business consultant charging $150 per hour, hired a VA at $10 hourly for research, presentation design, and CRM management. 15 hours weekly freed, $2,250 of potential billable time. Landed 2 retainer clients worth $8,000 monthly each. VA cost, $600 monthly. Value created, $16,000 monthly minimum. Melissa, an Amazon FBA seller, hired a VA in Pakistan for customer service, inventory tracking, and competitor research. $600 monthly. Freed time to source better products. Revenue went from $12,000 to $35,000 monthly. The cost is $600. Revenue increased $23,000 monthly. Warren, a YouTube creator, hired a video editor at $300 per video. 2 videos weekly, $2,400 monthly. Freed time for business development. Landed $10,000 brand deals monthly. Editor cost, $2,400. Brand deal value, $10,000 plus. That's people leverage. Costs more than technology but creates exponentially more value when deployed strategically. How to start even on limited budget. Month 1 to 2. Audit your time. Track every task for 2 weeks. Categorize as high value. Only you can do generates revenue, or low value. Anyone can do, admin and repetitive. Month 3. First automation. Pick 3 low-value tasks. Find software to automate them. Investment, $20 to $100 monthly. Time saved, 5 to 10 hours weekly. Month 4 to 5. First human hire. Find VA on Upwork or onlinejobs.ph. Start with 10 hours weekly, 80 to 120 monthly. Delegate lowest value tasks. Use freed time for high-value work. Month 6 plus. Scale the army. Measure ROI. Did income increase more than cost? If yes, add more delegation. If no, adjust what you're delegating. The mental block everyone hits. I can't afford to hire anyone. The math that destroys the block. VA costs $10 hourly for 10 hours weekly, equals $400 monthly. If you use those 10 freed hours to generate more than $400 in additional income, you profit. If you use those hours for Netflix, you wasted money. It's not about affording help. It's about what you do with the time help gives you. The system building example? Freelance writing business without systems. Each client is custom, time-intensive, doesn't scale. With systems, onboarding template, automated. Standard packages, no custom quotes. VA handles scheduling and admin. Editor handles revisions. You just write and sell. Result, 3 times the clients, same hours. This week, track all tasks. Identify 3 tasks others could do. This month, implement automation on repetitive tasks. Free up 5+ hours weekly. Use freed time for revenue-generating work. Next 3 months, hire first VA, even 5 hours weekly. Delegate admin, scheduling, research. Measure whether revenue increased. Sun Tzu said, "The general who wins makes many calculations. You cannot win alone. Build your army, people, systems, technology. Multiply your force. You're one person. You have 24 hours. That's your limit unless you build leverage. Start with technology. Add people, build systems, scale the army. That's how you break through income ceilings." Chapter 10, Winning Without Fighting, Negotiation Mastery. Isaiah walked into the salary negotiation with a different approach. Instead of demanding more money, fighting, he asked, "What would I need to accomplish in the first 90 days to exceed your expectations as a UX designer here?" The hiring manager listed 3 goals: redesign the onboarding flow, improve mobile conversion by 15%, collaborate effectively with the product team on the roadmap. Isaiah said, "If I achieve these 3 objectives and hit those metrics, can we revisit compensation in Q2? Manager agreed immediately. Performance reviews scheduled for 90 days out. Isaiah crushed all 3. Onboarding redesign increased sign-ups 23%. Mobile conversion up 18%. Product team raved about collaboration. 90 days later, manager offered $102,000, $17,000 more than the original offer, before Isaiah even asked. He won without fighting, made them want to pay him more instead of demanding it. Sun Tzu said, "Supreme excellence consists of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting." In financial warfare, the best negotiations feel collaborative, not combative. You don't demand, you position. You don't fight, you create conditions where they want to give you what you want. The no-fight framework has 3 steps. Step 1. Understand their position. What do they want? What are their constraints? What problem are they solving? Make it about them, not you. Step 2. Position your request as their solution. Not, I want more money, but here's how paying me more solves your specific problem. Step 3. Create an easy yes. Make it obvious, simple, low risk, remove objections before they raise them. Give them the language to say yes. Lauren, a product manager, negotiated using this approach. Bad version. I deserve $80,000 because I work hard and have a family to support. Her version. I researched market rates for product managers with 4 years of experience in fintech on levels.fyi and Glassdoor. The range in Austin is $95,000 to $115,000. Given I'll be responsible for the payments roadmap, which you identified as a Q1 priority, and my track record of increasing user retention 34% at my last company, I believe $105,000 aligns with both market rates and the value I'll bring. Does that work within your approved budget range? She got $103,000. Data plus positioning plus asking, not demanding, equals win. Trevor, a freelance copywriter, needed to raise rates. Bed version, starting next month my rates are 30% higher. His version, over the 6 months we've worked together, the email campaigns I've written have generated $280,000 in revenue based on your reports. To maintain this strategic level and prioritize your projects as you scale, I'm adjusting my rate structure to $125 per hour starting March 1st. Given the ROI this represents, does this work with your Q1 budget? Client kept him. He positioned the increase as protecting value they were already getting. The question-based approach extracts information while building rapport. What would success look like in this role for you? Reveals their priorities. If I achieve X results, how would you view my performance? Sets up future negotiation. What's your budget range for this project? Makes them show their number first. What concerns do you have about this proposal? Surfaces objections you can address. Each question gives you intelligence and positions you better. The collaborative frame uses language that makes them your partner, not your opponent. How can we structure this so it works for both of us? What would make this a clear yes for you? Help me understand your constraints so I can propose something that fits. I want this to be fair for everyone. What does fair look like to you? You're not fighting, you're problem-solving together. Dealing with resistance, when they push back, don't fight back. Ask questions. Help me understand what doesn't work about this. Their answer gives you the roadmap to yes. What would need to change for this to work? Is it the timing, the amount, or something else? Make them explain their no. Often they'll talk themselves into a yes. Real scenarios. Debt negotiation, not I can't pay, sorry. Better. I want to pay this debt. My current situation only allows $200 monthly. If I commit to consistent payments of $200 for 18 months, will you work with me on reducing the total or interest? I'd rather resolve this than default. You positioned as willing but constrained, offered a solution, made them your partner in resolution. Vendor pricing. Not, your price is too high. Better, I value your service and want to work together. My budget for this is $3,000. Is there a package or scope adjustment that fits that number, or payment terms that make this work? You showed respect, gave your constraint, offered alternatives, made them problem solve with you. Job offer. Not, I need $10,000 more or I walk. Better, I'm excited about this opportunity. Based on my research and the value I'll bring, I was expecting compensation in the $90,000 to $95,000 range. Is there flexibility to get closer to that? Or are there other package elements, equity, bonus, benefits, where we can find alignment? You showed enthusiasm, used data, asked about flexibility, offered alternative paths to yes. The setup before negotiation determines outcome. Build leverage before asking. Other offers, market research, proven value. Make them need you. Position a solution before negotiating. Have alternatives. BATNA, best alternative to negotiated agreement. Know their constraints, budget, timeline, priorities. When you enter with these in place, you've already won. Tactical actions for your next negotiation. 1. To research their position. What do they want? 2. Gather market data. What's fair? 3. List your value, specific, measurable contributions. 4. Prepare questions, not demands. Filmamsi is collaborative problem solving. Sun Tzu said, break resistance without fighting. Make them want to give you what you want. Ask questions, position value, create easy yes. You win when they think they won too. Stop demanding. Start positioning. Win without fighting. Chapter 11. The Long Campaign, Patience as Strategy. Two friends, both 28 and 2018, wanted to build wealth. Jason wanted quick results. Jumped from crypto trading 2018, lost 2,000. To dropshipping 2019, lost 1,000. To day trading 2020, lost 3,000. To NFTs 2021, lost 2,000. Back to crypto 2022, lost 1,500. 5 years later, 2023, has 3,000 saved total, zero traction anywhere. Exhausted, cynical, convinced making money is impossible. Angela picked one boring path in 2018. Index fund investing. S&P 500 total market funds. 500 monthly automated. Never touched it. Ignored market swings. Boring and slow. 5 years later, 2023. Invested 30,000 total over 5 years. Account worth 41,000 with compound growth. Plus she'd learned discipline that would compound for decades. Same time invested, opposite results. The long game won. The scattered approach failed. Sun Tzu said, victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. In financial warfare, wealth is built over years, not months. The person who can play the long campaign while everyone else quits early wins everything. The compound truth everyone underestimates. Year 1, feels like nothing is happening, tiny progress. Year 2, still slow, questioning if it works. Year 3, small momentum building, starting to see it. Year 4, acceleration, it's working. Year 5, exponential growth, compounding kicks in hard. Most people quit in year 2. The breakthrough comes in year 4. They miss it by 24 months. Destiny, freelance content writer. Year 1, 12,000. Learning, building portfolio, low-paying clients. Year 2, 28,000. Getting better clients, improving rates, almost quit here. Year 3, 55,000. Reputation building, referrals starting. Year 4, 95,000. Premium clients, retainers flowing. Year 5, 150,000. Premium positioning, turning down work. She almost quit in year 2, making 28,000. Year 5 changed her life because she stayed. Marcus, index fund investor. Year 1, 2018. 6,000 invested, market down end of year, worth 5,400. Discouraging. Year 2, 2019. 12,000 total invested, worth 13,800, finally gaining. Year 3, 2020. 18,000 invested, COVID crash then recovery, worth 19,500, roller coaster. Year 4, 2021. 24,000 invested, bull market, worth 32,000, momentum. Year 5, 2022-2023. 30,000 invested, worth 38,000 despite volatility. Compound effect working. Marcus almost sold everything March 2020 when it crashed. Held on, patience paid off. Alicia, learning Python coding. Year 1. Learning nights and weekends, making zero from it. Working day job 45,000, feels pointless. Year 2. First Upwork gigs, 15,000 yearly side income, barely worth it. Year 3. Better clients, 45,000 yearly freelancing while keeping day job. Okay, this works. Year 4. Quit day job, full-time Python developer at startup, 85,000. Life changed. Year 5. Senior developer, 120,000 base plus equity. Freedom plus wealth. Her mom told her to quit wasting time on coding in year 1. Year 5 proved patience right. The patience versus impatience 5-year comparison. Impatient path. Try crypto, lose. Try dropshipping, lose. Try day trading, lose. Try MLM, lose. Try next thing. Result, broke, exhausted, cynical. Patient path. Pick one, do it consistently for 5 years, ignore shiny objects, let compound effect work. Result, transformed life. The patience framework. Phase 1, Foundation, Year 1. Choose your path, the one thing. Build basic competence, accept you'll struggle. Commit to the timeline, measure. Are you learning? Phase 2, Consistency, Year 2. Show up daily. Ignore lack of dramatic results. Trust the process. Measure. Are you still at it? Phase 3, Momentum, Year 3. Small wins appear, skills compounding, network growing. Measure, is it easier than Year 1? Phase 4, Acceleration, Year 4. Results multiply, opportunities increase, reputation built. Measure, are referrals coming? Phase 5, Dominance, Year 5 plus. Compound effect in full force. Premium positioning, multiple streams from one focused path. Measure, financial transformation complete? Real 5-year transformations. Teacher to tutoring empire, Year 1, 8,000. Year 5, 120,000. Warehouse worker to tech. Year 1, learning to code making 0. Year 5, senior developer 115,000. Admin to VA agency. Year 1, solo VA 18,000. Year 5, agency with 8 VAs 200,000. Retail to e-commerce. Year 1, first product 12,000 revenue. Year 5, multiple products 350,000 revenue. Patience to stay for 5 years separated winners from everyone else. Your 5-year campaign assignment. Pick your one path. Write it down. For the next 5 years, I will focus on one thing. I will ignore every shiny object. I commit to this timeline regardless of how I feel in Year 2. Track progress annually, not daily. Compounding happens slowly, then suddenly. Ignore get rich quick always, it loses. Trust boring strategies that work over exciting strategies that fail. Sun Tzu said, "The general who wins makes plans for the long campaign. Quick victories are rare. Patient strategy wins wars. Commit to your 5-year path. Ignore shortcuts. Compound wins. Play the long game. Win." Chapter 12. From Soldier to General. Taking command of your financial life. Keisha spent 10 years as a soldier. She was a social media coordinator making $48,000, following her boss's orders, doing what LinkedIn influencers told her to do, hoping someone would promote her or give her permission to earn more. She complained about pay but never strategized, waited for raises that never came, blamed circumstances she never tried to change. Then 2022, mindset shift, soldier to general. She mapped her battlefield, complete financial audit, chose her battle, social media consulting for med spas, positioned strategically, built case studies, gathered information, researched pricing, built her army, hired VA for $600 monthly. 18 months later, $127,000 consulting income, fired herself from the $48,000 job, leads her financial life instead of waiting for permission. Same person, different mindset. Sun Tzu said, "Leadership is a matter of intelligence, trustworthiness, humaneness, courage, and discipline." In financial warfare, the transformation from soldier to general is the transformation from reactive to strategic, from hoping to executing, from following to leading. Soldier versus general mindset. Soldier waits for orders, permission, approval. General makes strategic decisions. Soldier reacts to circumstances. General creates circumstances. Soldier blames commanders when things fail. General takes full responsibility. Soldier follows the path laid out. General designs own path. Soldier executes tactics without strategy. General thinks multiple moves ahead. Soldier complains about conditions. General adapts to conditions. Soldier hopes someone will save them. General saves themselves through strategy. Most people live as financial soldiers. It's time to become the general. The transformation looks like soldier. My job doesn't pay enough. Complaint. General. My job is a stepping stone. Here's my exit strategy. Strategy. Soldier. I can't afford to invest in excuse. General. I'll start with 50 monthly and scale. Action. Soldier. I don't have time for side hustle. Victim. General. I'll eliminate 5 hours of TV and use it to build. Decision. Soldier. Rich people have advantages I don't. Blame. General. I'll create my own advantages through positioning. Leadership. Yunya, maybe someday something will change. Hope. General, I'm changing this starting today, command. See the difference? Taking command, your first 30 days as general. Week 1, assessment. Review your battlefield from Chapter 1. Identify all battles being fought. Determine which are won, lost, or winnable. Week 2 to 4, strategic planning. Choose your one focus from Chapter 2. Design your 5-year campaign from Chapter 11. Map your positioning strategy from Chapter 3. Plan your information gathering from Chapter 4. Month 2 to 3, execute first moves. Implement one indirect approach from Chapter 5. Make speed decision on one opportunity from Chapter 6. Start using employer resources strategically from Chapter 7. Execute one strategic retreat from Chapter 8. Month 4 to 6, build your army. Hire first VA or implement automation from Chapter 9. Practice no-fight negotiation from Chapter 10. Commit to long campaign from Chapter 11. Review and adjust strategy. Your command center needs clear mission, what you're building. Strategic plan, 5-year campaign. Intelligence reports, monthly financial reviews. Resources inventory, skills, time, money, network, progress metrics, how you measure winning. Create these, update monthly, stay in command. The hard truths you must accept as general, no one is coming to save you. You're the Zhu Yuan. Your circumstances are your responsibility. Not your fault, but your responsibility. Excuses don't change outcomes, only actions do. You will make mistakes, learn and adjust. Some people will criticize your strategy. Their opinion doesn't matter. This is a long campaign, patience required. You're in command now. Act accordingly. Real soldier to general transformations. Marcus, teacher. Soldier phase. I'm just a teacher. I'll never make more than 55,000. General phase. I'm a biology teacher with AP bio expertise. I'll monetize through tutoring, group classes, and study guides. 5-year target, 100,000 total. Result. Year 4, 118,000. Nina, retail. Soldier phase. I'm just a target associate making 32,000. I have no valuable skills. General phase. I'll master web development over 18 months using free resources. Build portfolio. Apply to 100 jobs. Result. Hired junior developer 72,000. Year 3, 95,000 senior developer. Robert, broke. Soldier phase. I can't invest. I barely make 38,000. Investing is for rich people. General phase. I'll cut 150 monthly expenses. Automate 100 monthly into index funds. Let it compound 10 years. Result year 5, 6,000 invested worth 7,800. Kept going. The general's daily habits. Morning. Review strategic plan, 5 minutes. Identify today's priority battle, the one thing. Execute with focus. Evening. Review progress, what was won. Gather intelligence, what was learned. Adjust tomorrow's tactics. Weekly. Review all active battles. Measure progress on campaign, make strategic adjustments. Monthly. Full battlefield assessment. Strategy review and update. Long-term plan adjustment. Sun Tzu said, "The general who advances without coveting fame and retreats without fearing disgrace, whose only thought is to protect his people and do good service, is the jewel of the kingdom." Lead your financial life with strategy, not ego. Protect your future, serve your long-term goals. You're the general now. Act like it. Conclusion. The strategic path forward. You started this book as a soldier, fighting daily financial battles without strategy, reacting to circumstances, hoping things would change. You're ending it as a general, armed with 2,500-year-old battlefield wisdom adapted for modern wealth warfare. You learned to know your battlefield, assessing your true financial position without delusion. To choose your battles, focusing force on one breakthrough instead of scattered effort. To position strategically, making opportunities come to you instead of chasing them desperately. You discovered information warfare, using knowledge as unfair advantage in every negotiation. The indirect approach, finding side doors to wealth that avoid frontal assault. Timing and speed, knowing when to move fast and when to wait patiently. You mastered using resources, Learning while earning, building your empire with employers' tools. Strategic retreat, knowing when to quit losing battles to preserve resources for winning ones. Building your army, leveraging people and systems to multiply your force. You practiced winning without fighting, making others want to give you what you want through strategic positioning. The long campaign, patience that outlasts everyone who quits early. And finally, taking command, leading your financial life as a general, not waiting as a soldier. The choice now. Path 1. Return to soldier mentality. Put down this book, go back to how things were. Reactive instead of strategic. Complaining instead of commanding. Hoping instead of acting. Following instead of leading. Most people choose this path. It's familiar, it's comfortable. It guarantees the same results you've always had. Path 2. Live as a general. Apply these principles starting today. Think strategically about every financial decision. Take full command of your wealth campaign. Execute the 5-year plan with discipline. Lead yourself to the life you actually want. This path is harder. It requires discipline, patience, and strategic thinking. It also actually works. The 5-year vision, if you commit to these principles. Year 1. You'll feel different, strategic versus reactive. Year 2. Your income will increase, better positioning, negotiations. Year 3. Your opportunities will multiply, positioning compounds. Year 4. Your wealth will accelerate, investments, skills compound. Year 5. Your life will transform, financial freedom approaching. This isn't theory. This is the documented pattern of ordinary people who thought strategically while everyone else worked frantically. The real competition isn't against rich people. It's against the version of yourself that quits in year 2, when results aren't dramatic yet. That gives up when strategy feels slow. That chases shiny objects instead of trusting the campaign. Beat that version of yourself and you win. Most people who read this book will do nothing with it. They'll agree with the principles, feel motivated for a week, then return to soldier mentality because it's easier. A small percentage will apply 1 or 2 principles and see modest improvement. An even smaller percentage will commit to the full strategic transformation and execute the 5-year campaign. Those people will build wealth that transforms their lives and their families' futures. Which percentage are you? Your first move? Don't try everything at once. Generals don't win wars in a day. Pick 1 principle from this book. Apply it this week. Maybe knowing your battlefield, complete financial audit. Choosing your battle, pick the 1 focus. Strategic positioning, make 1 key relationship. Information warfare, research before next negotiation. The indirect approach, start 1 side project. Strategic retreat, quit 1 losing battle. 1 principle this week, then add another next week. Strategic transformation happens through compound tactical wins. The promise. If you apply these Sun Tzu principles to your financial life for 5 years, you will make more money, build more wealth, have more opportunities, feel more in control, transform from soldier to general. This is not motivational hype. This is strategic reality. Sun Tzu's final wisdom. Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Plan your victory now. Design your 5-year campaign, know your battles, build your strategy, then execute. Don't fight frantically and hope to win. Win strategically through superior planning. You're the general now. You have the ancient wisdom. You have the modern application. You have the strategic framework. All that's left is your decision to lead your financial life instead of following it. Stop being a soldier in someone else's war. Start being a general in your own campaign. The battlefield is waiting. Take command.